Terrence County Court at Law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session and calls number M333554. Case is style, the state of Texas versus Wilson Vasquez. Mr. Vasquez doesn't speak English. He speaks Spanish, and we have Miss Jennifer Raji, who speaks Spanish and English, and Miss Raji is going to interpret for Mr. Vasquez. Mr. Raji, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Raji, do you swear or affirm to interpret Spanish to English and English to Spanish, so help you God? Yes, Mr. Raji, you may put your hand down. How you doing, Mr. Raji?
Good, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thanks for asking. Mr. Raji, ask Mr. Vasquez if his full name is Wilson Vasquez.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Now he must speak some English. I see his first name is Wilson. Is that correct?
English or poquito English?
He speaks a little English? Okay, that's good. Now, Mr. Vasquez is represented in this case by his attorney, Nathan Reynolds. Attorney Reynolds, do you waive a record in Mr. Vasquez's case?
So wait, Judge.
Ask Mr. Vasquez to raise his right hand. Mr. Vasquez, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez, you may put your hand down. And again, Mr. Vasquez, how are you doing?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Now, I have before me a document that is titled Information. This information was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. In this information, it alleges that you, Wilson Vasquez, on or about July 9th of 2022, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, operating a motor vehicle in a public place, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated with an alcohol concentration level of 0.15 or more. Do you understand what you've been charged with? And to this charge, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty.
Now, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez, I have before me a document that is titled, you're supposed to check this box off. It's just a classmate A, it's not that other one that you checked off. Maybe erase all that other stuff. Okay, thanks. Now, Mr. Vasquez, I have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment. Do you recognize this document? Now, in this document, your offense, the offense that you've been charged with is a Class A misdemeanor. The range of punishment for a Class A misdemeanor is minimum, a a fine that does not exceed $4,000 and or a jail or confinement in jail that does not exceed 1 year. Yeah, or you could be given both such fine and confinement. Do you understand that? This is the range of punishment. You understand it? Okay, on page 2 of this document, there's a set of initials on a line that's next to a box that's checked guilty. Did you place your initials on this document? On page 3 of this document, there's a signature above the line that is titled defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes.
On the next document that's titled trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, do you recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant? At the top of this document, there are 2 boxes that's checked. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes.
The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that statement? I also have before me a document on paper that is titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant? Before you signed and initialed all of these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you? And did you read and understand everything in these documents? Well, no, did Ms. Araji go over these documents with you in Spanish?
Yes.
And did you understand everything that Ms. Araji went over? Now, in State's Exhibit number 1, the first document that I showed you, there's a paragraph that is titled Citizenship. And Mr. Vasquez, I'm going to go over this paragraph with you. That's titled Citizenship, and it reads as follows. If you're not a U.S. citizen, a plea of guilty or nolle contendere may result in your deportation. Exclusion from admission to the country or denial of naturalization under federal law. Do you understand what I just read to you? Okay, did you have in the initial, that paragraph where it says citizenship, showing that he understood? Where's that other document? Be going there. And Mr. Vasquez, I also have a document that is titled, it says English for all English for all foreign nationals except those from mandatory notification countries. Do you recognize this document? And did Mr. Raji go over this document with you and over this document in Spanish? Now, the last sentence says, do you want us to notify your consular officers at this time? What country is he from?
Puerto Rico.
Rico.
Yeah, he has to be a citizen from Puerto Rico.
So he's, well, I thought he said he wasn't a US citizen. He said he wasn't in, why he filled this out?
Entonces sí. No tienes un certificado.
What he said?
Is
Is he a US citizen?
He has to be because he's for the United States.
Okay, he said he's US citizen. Ask him if he's a US citizen.
He says yes.
Well, we didn't even need to fill out that other
No,
part.
first. He told me no at first. Maybe he didn't know that they're US citizens.
Okay, so he is a US citizen, or we'll just keep this anyway. Now, Mr. Vasquez. Again, before you signed and initialed all of these documents, Mr. Roger went over these documents with you in Spanish. And everything in these documents, true and correct to the best of your knowledge. And you understood everything that she went over. State. Okay, state. I have before me states exhibit number 1. State, would you like to offer states exhibit number 1 in evidence?
Yes, sir.
Any objections?
No objections. Sir.
No objection. States exhibit number 1 will be admitted into evidence. Mr. Reynolds, you've advised and counseled Mr. Vasquez. Is there any evidence that he's currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
Not to my knowledge.
And ask Mr. Vasquez if he's satisfied with the services of his attorney, Mr. Reynolds.
Yes.
Okay, you can tell Mr. Vasquez that I will accept his plea of guilty. I will find that he is mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that his plea and waivers was freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find him guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Do your honor.
What is that agreement?
Exchange for plea of guilty, no contest. That you recommend 30 days. You have to down to jail like full cost.
We have a 30
That has
days.
credit for 17 days.
Okay. What's the cost? 442. Mr. Vasquez, the state is offering that you serve 30 days in the Jefferson County Jail, and you'll be given credit for the 17 days that you've already served. And the court cost in this case is $442. Ask him ask Mr. Vasquez, will he be able to pay the court costs of $442? No, okay. Did you hand this document to Mr. Vasquez? And on the back of that page, there should be a place where it says defender signature.
Yes.
Ask Mr. Vasquez if that's his signature. Is his signature on there?
Is this? Essa sua firma?
I think there should be a signature that a judge has on
Here
there
we
too.
go. Essa sua firma aí? Yes.
Okay, now you can turn that page back over. Ask Mr. Vasquez, is everything on that document still true and correct today?
Todo nesse documento, se é verdade neste momento. Todo o que temos aqui é de verdade.
It's still true? Okay, so the court is going to find that Mr. Vasquez is indigent. And based on the finding of indigency, the court costs will be waived in this case, so he will not have to pay the court costs. Okay. Now, ask Mr. Vasquez, does he understand the state's offer? And do you think that state's offer is fair and just?
Yes.
And does he accept the state's offer? Okay, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that he's entered into with the state. Mr. Vasquez could stand next to his attorney and follow the directions of the clerk, and then he'll follow the bailiff. Okay. We don't need this. We don't need this. Yeah. We don't need that. Bates is next. Okay, Mr. Roger, tell Mr. Vasquez to have a blessed day. Okay, that's it. And you have a blessed day as well, Mr. Roger, and thank you. Jefferson, you're gonna stand right there. Okay, Jefferson County Court at law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session. The cause number 23 CCCR 1636, case of style of the state of Texas versus Michael Sean.
Yes, sir.
Michael Sean Bates. Mr. Bates, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Bates, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bates, you may put your hand down.
Okay.
How are you doing, Mr. Bates?
I'm okay, sir.
That's good, Mr. Bates. Yeah, you're represented in this case by your attorney, Attorney Nathan Reynolds. Attorney Reynolds, how are you doing?
Doing well, Judge.
Okay, Mr. Bates,
Yes, sir.
I have before me a document that is titled information. This information alleges that on or about August 8 of 2023, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed to class a misdemeanor offense of resisting arrest, search, transportation. Mr. Bates, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Mr. Bates, how do you plead guilty, not guilty, no contest?
I'm guilty, sir.
Now, you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
I'm pleading guilty to honestly prove that I did the crime.
Okay, that's good. Now, Mr. Bates, I have before me a document that is titled misdemeanor plea admonishments. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of the same document, there are a set of initials on the line next to the box that says check guilty. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, I did, sir.
On page 3 of the same document, there's a signature above the line that is titled defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes, sir. It is, sir.
And on the next document that's titled trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir, I do.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir, it is, sir.
At the top of this document, there are 2 boxes that's checked. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes, sir.
The second box that's checked states that you are waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes, sir, I do.
I also have before me a document that is titled discovery certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir, I do.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
That's correct, sir, it is.
Before you signed and initialed these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, I do, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct
Everything is true and correct.
to the best of your knowledge?
To the best of my knowledge, sir, it is.
Mr. Bates, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, I am, sir.
State, I have before me state's exhibit number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment. State, would you like to offer state's exhibit number 1?
Yes, sir.
Any objections?
No objection, sir.
No objection. State's exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Reynolds, you've advised and counseled Mr. Bates. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
None to my knowledge.
Mr. Bates, your attorney, Mr. Reynolds, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir, I am, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir, yeah.
Mr. Bates, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
We do,
What is that agreement?
exchange for plea of guilty or no contest, state's agree to recommend 19 days in Jefferson County Jail and court costs, gonna ask credit for 19 days, speak time served, and be back for another.
Mr. Bates, the state's offering that you serve 19 days in Jefferson County Jail. You will not have to serve any more time in the Jefferson County Jail on this case because you've already served 19 days in the Jefferson County Jail. Therefore, you'll be given credit for the time that you've already served. The court costs in this case will be taxed and retired. What that means is you will not be required to pay any court costs because the time that you spent in jail has already paid it off. Therefore, the court costs will be taxed and retired. Mr. Bates, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir, I do,
Do
sir.
you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir, I
And
do.
do you accept the state's offer?
I accept it, sir.
Mr. Bates, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Bates, you're going to stand next to your attorney in front of our court clerk
Okay,
and follow her directions. Once you finish following her directions, you can follow the bailiff, and you have a blessed day.
okay, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Number
Right here. Mr. Damien, please stand in front of the bench. This is cause number M318-739, case style of the state of Texas versus Raphael Govea Damian. Mr. Damian, is that your full name?
Yes.
Mr. Damian, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Damian, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Mr. Damian, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Damian?
I'm good.
That's good. Mr. Damian, you're represented in this case by your attorney, Nathan Reynolds. Attorney Reynolds, do you waive a record in Mr. Damian's case?
So wait, Judge.
Mr. Damian, I have before me a motion to revoke your probation that was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. In this motion, it alleged that you, Raphael Govea Damian, was tried on December 14 of 2020 for the Class 8 misdemeanor offense of DWI, driving while intoxicated with an alcohol concentration level of 0.15 or more. The court found that you were guilty and your punishment was assessed at 180 days in the Jefferson County Jail and a fine of $1,000. The confinement portion of your probation was probated for a period of 18 months. In this motion, there are 6 allegations. Are you abandoning any allegations?
State's abandoning allegation 3, 4, 5, 6. Proceeding on 1 and 2.
Okay, Mr. Damian, the state is abandoning allegation 3, 4, 5, and 6. That simply means that they will only be proceeding on allegation 1 and 2. Allegation number 1 alleges that you, Raphael Govea Damian, failed to report to the Jefferson County Probation Office as ordered by the court in the months of August, September, October, November, December of 2022, and January of 2023 as directed in violation of condition 4 of your probation order. Is that true or not true?
That's good.
Allegation number 2 alleges that you, Raphael Govea Damian, failed to work faithfully at suitable employment as far as possible as ordered by the court in violation of condition 6 of your probation order. Is that true or not true?
Is that true?
Now, are you pleading true to allegations 1 and 2 freely and voluntarily?
That's true because I'm not working.
Okay, but listen to my question.
Yeah.
Are you pleading true to allegations 1 and 2 because they are true?
That's true.
Okay. Okay. Now, Mr. Damian, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment. It is also labeled as State's Exhibit number 1. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
On page 2 of this same document, there are a set of initials on a line next to a box that's checked MTRP, true to allegations 1 and 2, and the initials are R or D. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 3 of this same document, there's a signature above the line that is titled defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
And on the next document that's titled trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
At the top of this document, there are 2 boxes that's checked. First box that's checked states that this is a plea bargaining case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes, sir.
The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Damian, before you sign an initial,
Yeah, I'm signed.
okay, before you signed and initial these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Damian, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes.
And state, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, would you like to offer State's Exhibit number 1?
Yes, sir.
Any objections?
No objections, yes.
No objection. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Reynolds, you've advised and counsel. Mr. Damian, is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial.
None to my knowledge.
Mr. Damien, your attorney, Mr. Reynolds, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his services? Are you satisfied with the services of your attorney?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And, okay, Mr. Damien, I will accept your plea of true to allegations 1 and 2. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers was freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to revoke your probation, and your probation is hereby revoked. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement? Do we have an affidavit?
This is,
Do we have a plea bargain
yeah,
agreement?
Your Honor, what, I'm sorry, what,
Is it-
this is.
Damien, I think it's,
All right, in exchange for plea of true on 2 allegations, Your Honor, states agree to recommend 30 days in Jefferson County Jail and court credit for 19 days.
what's the courthouse amount? Okay. Mr. Damien, the state is offering that you serve 30 days Jefferson County Jail. However, you'll be given credit for the 19 days that you have already served.
Mhm.
The court cost in this case is $57. Would you be able to pay the $57 court cost?
I'm not working and I don't have no money right now.
Okay. Now, let me do this here. Okay,